Tahoe Lobster's in the house. Fred and Justin back in the studio. We talked when it was really more of an idea. Now you guys are in full operation out there on the lake, catching Tahoe lobsters.
Yes.
Crayfish. Crayfish. Who eats crayfish?
Everybody.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like, I always think of gumbo as like what, a crayfish dish, really.
That's one of them. You can do a traditional crawfish boil where you have just your crawfish, big pot, lots of seasonings, lots of spices, corn, potatoes, sausage, and you pull it out and dump it across the table, and everybody just starts eating.
Just start tearing them up. They're easy to get into, right? But they're just a little bit of meat in there, isn't there?
Yeah.
So talk about like how you're set up. I'm sure must have been real easy to just start fishing for crawfish out on Lake Tahoe. Probably no restrictions, no.
There was a huge amount of restrictions, and we had to have
no rules.
Laws changed, and there's lots of rules in effect in multiple state agencies that we've had to go through. So.
You guys must be good at red tape and jumping through hoops. I can't even imagine what you went through.
We have a lot of support.
Mm-hmm. Good.
That helps.
Good. How about, isn't there an issue with selling them in California as opposed to selling them in Nevada?
Yeah, they've got a law. It's called the Crayfish 8490 law. And it specifically talks about Tahoe Basin crayfish, crawfish, crawdads, whatever you want to call them. You cannot sell them from the Tahoe Basin, period. No sales.
But that goes back to when nobody was fishing for them, really, huh?
That goes back
commercially fishing.
It goes back to the 70s and some restocking efforts that they did in Sweden. It was taken wrong as a commercial fishery instead of as helping Sweden out, because they had a plague go through and kill their native crayfish. So the signal crayfish here in the lake are actually resistant to that disease, so they moved them over to Sweden. And there was a misconception of how that was done. They thought money changed hands, and now we're here.
It's probably a silly question, but are they indigenous to the lake, the crawfish?
No.
No. How'd they get in there?
They were planted in the late 1890s as a food source for the Lahontan cutthroat.
And in everything we do about getting the invasive species, get the invasive species out. I mean, are you guys part of that? I mean,
right. I mean, the Tahoe Lobster name is more a marketing end of it.
Sure.
And so that was more of a sales thing to open to the public. That's how we came about. But everything is science based. All our information, data, bycatch, depth, number of traps.
You don't commercial fish in Lake Tahoe without this kind of regulation.
There's a lot of restrictions that you have to adhere to. You just don't throw a trap in as a company and just pull out and say, "Bung, we're here." It doesn't work like that.
Yeah,
it doesn't work like that at all.
Anyone lives here knows that.
Right.
And explain too. There's no buoys. It's not an eyesore. You're not seeing floating gallon Clorox thing on the surface like some, because that's what some people, where I grew up, that's what they did on the Chesapeake. That's not the case with you guys.
No, we have buoys that are submerged underwater, at least 10 feet under, and we mark everything with the GPS so we know how to get back to it, and that way there's no navigational hazards. Nobody's getting any lines caught in their props or caught up skiing or anything like that. Everything's submerged.
Where can somebody go and taste the Tahoe lobsters that are coming out?
Right here at South Shore, you can go to the Lakeside Casino. You can go to Harris, up to their buffet. In Reno, go to the old Granite Street Eatery. You can go to Vista Grill. You can go to GSR. You can go to El Dorado.
And what's it typically in? I mean, is there a crayfish dish, or is it in a gumbo, or?
A lot of the restaurants, they'll serve it as a gumbo. They'll serve it as a dish. They'll put it in noodles like an Italian, and substitute the crawfish tail for the shrimp. They'll do different situations like that. Adam, the chef at the Granite Street Eatery, and I suggest everybody goes there. It's awesome. He makes some great stuff.
And they know, like when you come in and say, I want a Tahoe lobster, I want some of the crayfish that's coming out of the lake. But it's going to be all those places you mentioned in Nevada.
Exactly. They're right down by Court Street, right there in Reno.
What's the biggest one you ever caught? Like the one you just go, man, we need to...
biggest. Right around a quarter pound.
No kidding.
He was about like that.
About 12 inches long.
Are there any restrictions on size, like a
No,
fish?
we're an invasive project.
Right.
So what we're doing is they call it lake run.
That's a good catchword.
Lake run.
No, the invasive.
We are. That's what our business is. We don't differentiate between an immature or a totally mature, full-grown crawfish. We take everything. We don't have the permit to allow us to put it back.
You guys, it's always fun talking to you guys. And I love the truck too. It's the Tahoe Tahoe Lobster on the side, so I'm sure that gets some people asking questions.
Definitely.
And one more time, that place you said is just wonderful to go taste.
The old Granite Street Eatery.
There you go, down there in Reno.
Yep,
right.
down near Court Street.
Court Street. Well, good to see you guys again. Come back in and let us know how it's going. All winter long, you guys still out there fishing?
We're going to be there when the snow flies.
Still call it fishing?
It's called work.
Work.
Yeah.
Hard work out there on the lake. Keeping the lake clean from those invasive species.
Yep.
Keep up the good work. Tahoe Lobster. We'll take a quick break and be back with more. Stay with.